On everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Road to Nowhere podcast. I was going to say I'm your host, but technically it's not true. I'm Extreme from Extreme FTW Gaming here on Twitch and on YouTube. This is Jimmy G from the Jimmy G Experience on Facebook and Jimmy G Smack here on Twitch. So, how's your day going, G?
My day is good. I've had some weird stuff happening at work, like they're trying to change schedules and things, and they changed my days off, which is why we have a later start today as opposed to the normal start. And you know, put my computer around and stuff, so my webcam and all that. Weird. I thought I had it, and then I didn't. But yeah, I mean, my day's okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, we have a bunch of stuff. Like, holy God, I wrote everything down. And even I don't want to look at this list again because I wrote so much crap down. Since the last time we talked, there have been a multitude of things that have happened in the world. I want to talk about the the most joyful one, in my opinion, and that was the announcement, the official trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder came out. Have you seen that yet?
I did. I did. Natalie Portman is amazing. She looks yoked as
Dude,
hell.
I love how they saved that for the very end of the trailer. I mean, we knew it
Yeah.
was happening, but the fact that that was saved for the very end, perfect.
Yeah.
I love his like Zen Buddha kind of like attitude now. It's like I love it. I can't wait to see where they take this character.
Yeah.
Um, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I don't. What I thought was hilarious is I think it actually came out last Wednesday. So right after we finished the podcast, I remember seeing it. I was like, oh hey, we're talking about that next week. So, um, but I was shocked that it came out because isn't the movie like July or something? Or
I
is
don't
it
know. I didn't
sooner?
actually see the release day for it. That part I didn't pay any attention to. I
Yeah.
was paying attention to all the other things.
um, I like how she has the cracked Mjolnir, by the way. Like that, I thought that was awesome. When I saw that, I was like, yes. So I'm looking forward to that movie. And from my understanding, this is Chris Hemsworth's last time having his own solo outing, but he's gonna continue to play Thor for a little while longer, I think. Um, but I'm not sure because they brought Natalie Portman in and she's supposed to be the new Thor as well. So I don't know where this is going. And we didn't see Christian Bale's character um as well. So I'm kind of curious if we're gonna get another trailer. We're more than likely gonna get at least one more, and that'll include some of that other stuff. But it looked awesome, and I got so excited when I saw it. My girlfriend sitting there on a like she had just finished a meeting and is on her phone. I'm watching it and she's just oblivious. And she likes that character. She likes Thor. So the fact that she just didn't give a shit, I'm all, yep, yep, you really are done with the Marvel series. So um but yeah, I'm looking forward to that and I can't wait to see more on it. I know also over the last few days the logo for Guardians 3 was released, which looks really good. There are a million and one people out there trying to create trailers, like teasers and stuff, and claiming as such, which really pissed me off because I was looking for more information on the third Guardians after Thor was announced. I was like, holy crap. So they announced this and this. What they announced is that yes, it's coming, and here's this. But it was also announced in tandem with the new ride that's coming to Disneyland, I think it is, or Disney World. Um, so I guess that's why they announced the two together. But I'm just excited, man, and I can't wait. I still am looking forward to Doctor Strange, which that's what next week that comes out.
I don't know.
Well, it's like May 9th, which or not May 9th, May 7th or something, 6th. I don't know. All I know is I saw that it's next week. That's
So
all
I'm
I know.
gonna say if it's May anything that's not before the 5th, it's gonna be 2 weeks because today's only the 27th.
Yeah,
We
and
got
this
to get through
Tuesday
this
is the third.
month, and then a couple days in May we'll finish the week. and then I think starting the 4th would be the next week.
May 3rd is next Tuesday, dude.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, next
So
week.
then, yeah,
Oh,
it
okay, so
could be.
6. See, my days off are all twisted because they changed my days off at work. Today's
So yeah,
Wednesday.
it may be next Friday because I think I either saw a 9 or a 6 on one of the ads I saw.
I said,
But
well, if it's the 6th, that is a Friday.
yeah,
And then the following Friday would be the 11th. So, I mean, it still could be the 9th because movies used to come out on, I think, Tuesday and Friday a while back, but that's 8 and 10. Or no, 8 and 11.
yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's the 6th. I just
The 6th
it
is a
sounds right.
Sunday.
May 6th?
Oh, no, that's March. What the?
May 6th is next Friday.
Oh, my God. This
If
calendar's
it's
so
the if
dumb.
it's the 9th, it's next Monday.
Yeah,
So, it's like a week not a week from Monday is when it would
right.
be out. But I'm pretty sure it's the 6th. Because the 16th was the other date that I saw, or I think I saw, and that's a Monday as well, and I think I know the 17th or no, the 24th of May is when the next season of Destiny starts. I know that. Um, and I'm very interested in where that whole thing is going, but that's a different podcast. We'll talk about that as we get closer. But yeah, no, I think it's the 6th is when Doctor Strange comes out. Um, I know that Patrick Stewart is in the movie now. I didn't know that before. So I'm kind of interested to see what how that plays into the story they're trying to tell now. Um, there's apparently a bunch of cameos from people because they are traversing the multiverse, and apparently Tony Stark isn't dead in one of them. He's supposed to be a brief cameo. He just kind of like, what? So, oh, your camera just flickered. That's awesome. But yeah, it looks like really good for both Doctor Strange and Thor. I mean, we knew Thor was going to be more of a lighthearted film for the most part. Like there was going to be a lot of like goofiness and joking and just kind of having fun because this
Hmm.
is his last solo outing. Um, but I'm excited for it, and I was like giddy as a schoolgirl when I saw the trailer. I was like, so I can't wait, and I definitely the thing I think I'm most upset about it is that it comes out when my girlfriend is gone. I think it comes out in July. I think that was the release date announced. So yeah, I'll be a little butthurt if it is because I'll have to wait till at least August or September to go see it. Unless they offer like same day, like you can order it online and rent it for like 20 bucks or whatever it is. Um, which is what I think we were gonna do for Jurassic Park's new movie, because she's not too sure if she wants to go to the theaters yet. But um, so yeah, there was that. Do you follow the Major League Baseball at all?
It's been a while.
So apparently last week sometime, I don't remember when I don't know the whole story, but I wanted to kind of just throw it out there. Um an umpire by the name of Angel Hernandez apparently was he kind of like doing his own thing. Like you know how there's a set strike zone and all that stuff. Well, apparently he's calling strikes for balls that should not be strikes. And he was calling foul balls for stuff that shouldn't have been fouls, which it's like, what? This is a like you can do this? Like you can get away with this? I want to be an MLB fucking empire. Um, but yeah, he apparently made a huge stink, and there was an altercation that happened between him and another player on live television. And the response to that has been the umpire needs this particular umpire and umpires like him need to go because one, it's killing the the enjoyment of watching the game, and for people playing it, they don't want to play the game if he's the behind home plate umpire.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things. I sat there and I was looking at all this, and I'm trying to get an idea of what the hell's going on because I haven't followed like Major League Baseball in a long time. I occasionally look to see how the Padres are doing, and that's about it. Um, so hearing about the story, I was like, wait, I wonder if James watches baseball or anything, and if he
Been a
does,
while. Like I do watch baseball. I like baseball, but when it comes to like following, tracking, and seeing what's happening, I haven't done that in a long time. So, like
yeah,
with this umpire story, that's all new to me. Um, let's just say COVID and the Chargers leaving ruined any and all sports for me. I was more of a hockey fan. Like I follow hockey more than anything, and I haven't followed hockey in a few years. So, I mean, even
and I
that.
remember the San Diego's used to have the goals. Don't they have them back?
Yeah, the goals are back, and they still flex between the Ducks and the goals because the goals are the Ducks AAA minor league team. They used to be known as the Admirals, and they were in like Virginia or something. And it was a long way to travel, considering their pro team was in San Diego. So they worked it out and got the goals back at a higher division. So they just changed names and came back to San Diego.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I
I
caught
was there
some of what you're saying.
when they came back.
I remember, oh man, I was like 6 or 7. It was before the goals left, and my dad was like, "Hey, I got tickets to go to this game. Do you want to go?" And I just looked at my dad, and I'm like, "I don't even know what hockey is," because at that point I hadn't heard of hockey. I'd never seen a game. Nothing like that wasn't something my family followed. Um, so when he brought it up, I was like, "San Diego has a hockey team?" And so I learned about hockey and I was like, "Yeah, I wanna go." By the time I finally told my dad, "Yeah, I wanna go," he'd sold the tickets to one of his, like, coworkers. And I remember kinda being a little pissed off because it's like, "You asked me to go. I did all this fucking research." And then you're like, "Nope, I sold them."
You took too
So,
long.
it was literally 3 days. I
Yeah.
guess he
Hey,
couldn't wait.
3 days is too long.
The game was 2 weeks after he asked me.
Mm.
So, yeah, my dad just he didn't think I was gonna wanna go, and I don't blame him. And years later, I asked him about it, and his response was, "I genuinely didn't think you wanted to go. So when you finally told me you did, I thought you were just being nice. So when you got upset, I was like, oh, uh-oh."
Yeah.
So then he ended up taking me to, I think it was something else. Like several months later, he got tickets for he and I to go. I think it was probably Padres because I only think I went to one Padres game the entire time I lived in San Diego, and it was
Wow.
at Qualcomm when it was still the San Diego Sport. No, it wasn't Qualcomm. What was it called before Qualcomm?
Jack Murphy Stadium.
That's right. That's when I went. It was before they called Qualcomm. I remember that
Yeah, it
much.
was the Murph.
Yeah.
I
Um,
uh I grew up with all sports like available to me, so that's where we differ there. My
yeah.
first hockey game, I remember sitting at the glass, and it was the goals versus the Russia team. But before Russia was known as Russia, it was the CCR, and it was their championship team coming to play the San Diego Gulls. It's like an exhibition match, you know.
Yeah.
And nobody expected the Gulls to win because it was Russia's best team, and they did win. But the situation that happened is I was sitting on the glass. I had my dad and my brother next to me, and the puck gets sent to our corner because we were in a corner spot.
Mhm.
And when the puck hits the glass, you see one of the guys from Russia come charging in to get the puck, and he does his little, ice slide stop. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I notice a goals player coming in from the side. And I was like, oh, God. And the dude got checked so hard that his mouth hit the glass and blood went on the glass right in front of me. I was like, I'm
Dude,
hooked. I'm hooked. I love it. Gimme, 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 gimme.
I wonder if there's video of that somewhere. Did you know if they filmed it at all, or
I honestly don't know if it was filmed and put on the air, but I know I was there.
I would like to see that, especially to see a young Jimmy G sitting there and all of a sudden, yes, like, I don't know
Yeah,
why, but I can visualize that whole moment
yeah,
just boom, nice.
yeah.
So, um, yeah, I gotta definitely look for that. So anyways, So yeah, there was that whole incident with that, and I wanted to make knowledge, reference of it. That I don't know, it's just something about it. Just it felt like, hey, this is something I want to talk about, but
Well,
I really don't know enough.
there's been
So,
umpires in every sport that have ruined situations. Like
oh yeah,
the muscle umpire in football. You know what I mean? Like people hated watching him do his refereeing because he, nobody liked him. He called bad calls and uh, balls were placed wrong, and it was just stupid. Um, and then yeah, there's baseball umpires, and he that Alex, what would you say his name was? Angel something.
Angel Hernandez.
Angel Hernandez is not like I've seen. I pulled up his picture. I see his face. I've seen him before, and he's had other controversy stuff before. At least I believe he has. Um, but growing up playing baseball my whole life, he's not the only umpire to decide this is your strike zone. Like a standard strike zone is supposed to be your chest to your knees. I mean, it's a pretty big box. And then it goes the corners of the plate. Well, I've watched baseball, grew up playing baseball, and a lot of umpires they change the strike zone when they're there, depending on the batter. Because there are some batters who get real low, real tight, and their elbows are down and everything, and they're trying to make a really small strike zone for the umpire to see, and they have to. Well, I mean, you're doing this shit on purpose. This is where it should be, so this is where it's gonna be. And it's not uncommon for an umpire to say, "No, look, everybody has the same strike zone. It is what it is. This is how I call it." And
Yeah,
so, yeah,
like I said, I don't know the full extent of what happened recently. I know that this umpire caused enough like issue during the course of one game that one of the I think it was the home team players got in his face and just started, you know, berating him very publicly, and did this because they just he'd had enough. This guy was like ruining the game and just being an ass. That's the way it's been, outlaid for
portrayed.
me. That's what happened. And I'm like, okay, I still don't fully understand what happened. And I was kind of hoping you might know, but clearly that's not the case. So,
Yeah, no,
but I don't know.
unfortunately, I
It's
don't.
something. This brings me back to another reason why I like pro wrestling. We all know the referees aren't actually there to like enforce the rules because technically the rules are, you know, not really there. It's a show, it's entertainment. But their job is to be like the third man that's kind of, moving things
Make it,
along and
yeah, make
making
it more
sure everything.
entertaining. Yeah,
Yeah, and to help out if the heel's trying to get heat, you know, do some dirty shit when the referee's not looking. I mean that's the referee's
yeah,
job. And there are some really good referees in pro wrestling who do an amazing job of filling that role. There are some that just ooh, bad. Like they take bumps bad. Like they're too comical. I always said when Earl Hebner took a bump, he looked like he got shot out of cannon because he would sell it like he got thrown, but really he just kind of got dink and blah. And he always oversold it. But
see,
he
I
did it
liked
in
him
such a
for
way that
that.
was but that was the thing. He did it so well that it became part of the bit and it was entertaining to see.
Yeah,
But then there are people who tried to copy that.
yeah, that's no good.
It just didn't have the same effect and it just looks horrid, you
That's
know?
like Michael Buffer with his announcing. He has a
Yeah,
style. People try to copy it, and it's just not the same. Just stop.
yeah. So, question, the main announcer, I think you'll know this answer. Because I don't know the answer myself, but the guy who came in and was the main announcer for UFC, isn't that like Michael Buffer's brother or something? Or
Yeah, the ring announcer. Yeah,
yeah,
it's Is it Bruce?
yeah, Bruce Buffer. Because I remember hearing that at
Yeah,
one
but
point.
yeah, it's Michael Buffer's brother, And he's been doing the announcing for UFC for a hot minute. He does a couple boxing every now and again. I've seen him do other sporting event or other sporting sport organization things once or twice. But and then UFC, I know, signed him to a contract that was very specific to UFC.
Yeah. Um, I know. I think the only time
Yeah,
I
it's
think I've
Bruce
ever
Buffer.
seen or heard Michael Buffer at UFC was for the first Ultimate Fighter. I think that for the main event of that show, he came out and did the announcing,
I
and
can
I think
believe
that
that.
was.
I can
I
believe
remember
that.
actually seeing
He's
that,
super expensive to get to do anything. Like,
which is why
okay,
I'm
so I
shocked
used to
to hear
work.
WCW use him so
e-
much.
Yeah, like I used to work at Barona, right? They hired Michael Buffer to do the Barona announcements. Just here it is, and he was willing to do it, but he'd only do one take, and that was it. Like it cost a shit ton of money for them to have him do one take, and he got it, obviously on the first try because they used it. But still, man, one take, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I think I would have been a little. I don't know. From a business standpoint, you have to be confident in the person's delivery. But we're talking about Michael Buffer. I don't think
Yeah,
he's ever flubbed. But as long as like knowing
not
him, he
since he's
probably
been like known.
yeah.
Like I bet he did when he was first beginning trying to find
Oh
his
yeah.
voice.
But over time, like you have to know he's perfected his craft, so he knows he only needs to do it once. And
Yeah,
it's gonna be good. Like you don't need to have him do it 50 million times. So I can
right,
understand that side of things. But if you need to be sure of a product's like how it comes out and how it's sounds and whatever, if you're gonna get a voice and you're gonna do Michael Buffer, you better be 100% confident that you're gonna get what you're paying for up front. Because, like you said, there's a huge price tag to that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's the whole point of like getting back to what we were really talking about. I saw that in the news and it was something I wanted to talk about. Yes, I'm gonna say it right now. We're gonna talk about Elon Musk uh, potentially buying Twitter. The
No, he
deal
did
is
buy
not.
Twitter.
No, it's not. He hasn't officially signed anything. He still needs to get all of the money together, and that hasn't fully happened. He's signed an agreement, but he hasn't actually got the money together yet. And there are terms to that agreement that he has to fulfill before the sale will be final. So that's one thing that yeah, we might as well spend the rest of the podcast talking about this. Um, there's a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, I'm going to leave Twitter because of this." Why? He's even clarified today what he meant by free speech because there's so many people thinking, "Oh crap, that means, Twitter is going to become, a haven for hate speech again." No, he's actually flat out said when he says he's going to, bring back free speech to Twitter, what he's referring to is the unnecessary censorship of speech. That being said, he is only going to allow free speech in the limits of the law. So hate speech is not going to be allowed, obviously.
Right.
Um, he's not going to allow people to lie or, be full of shit. If you're a public figure and you're lying about something, he may let you get away with it for a little bit, but there's going to be a point where he's going to say, "Okay, you're really spreading misinformation, so we need to nix that." So he's clearly thought about this on a business level, a personal level, and a professional level before he even considered doing it. I don't think this was his attempt to just say, "Hey, Twitter's being a shit, so it's not playing by the way I want it to play by, so I'm going to step in and buy it and change it altogether." No, that's not what's happening. People jump
No,
to
but
conclusions.
that's what a lot of people assume. Like
Yeah,
that's been the assumption by many people. See, I thought the deal was already done.
no.
You saying no, I went and I loaded it right now, the New York Times, and that's current. And you're right, it's not done. It says the board was approved at the deal, but it has to go to a shareholder vote before it can go to the next step.
Yeah.
And if Twitter decides that Elon Musk will not get the deal, they have to pay Elon $1 billion, and then vice versa. If Musk ruins the deal, then he has to pay Twitter $1 billion.
Yeah. So the problem you have with that is that there are a lot of investors, and every single shareholder gets a vote. And so if you own, so the best way to put this for those that don't understand how this works, if you own one share of Twitter's stock, okay, you get one vote. Well, let's say, Jimmy, you own 20 shares. So you get 20 votes. And so each one of those votes will matter. So if you only own one share, yeah, your vote may matter in the overall count. But if someone owns 15% of the stock, that's what, like, let's say, this is still a number on there. Let's say that's 1,000 votes. He's going to easily, that person's going to have a much bigger sway.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
The big
the it,
factor
the
why
big thing is is does Elon Musk own over 50% of of the stock of Twitter? You know what I
he
mean? Like
doesn't
the
get a, he doesn't,
shareholder.
that's the thing. He doesn't get to vote in this.
If he's a
That
shareholder, why wouldn't he? If all shareholder
shareholder,
votes count.
he, because it would sway. He owns 13% of the stock right now, like, of the company. He owns 13%.
Yeah. But
He is
you see
trying
my
to
point
buy,
though.
yeah. But the reason why he cannot vote in this matter is because the matter is about him buying. So he could vote, sure. And obviously his 13% is going to go toward yes. Well, let's say the vote is this much yes, this much no, but because of his yeses, it put it over. That's an unfair to the other shareholders. So he technically cannot vote in this shareholders meeting. And that's why he can't. Right now, he is not allowed to vote in this particular on this particular matter. He can vote on everything else that's going on, but this one he cannot lay a vote on. So because it's up to the other shareholders if they are going to take it. Right now, if they take it, Elon Musk has agreed to buy the stocks, the shares for, like, I think it was like $5 or $6 above the current stock price. So that's the other issue. If they say yes and stock goes up briefly, he still has to match that. So he still has to pay each share an additional $6, whatever the current value is. So if it gets to $100, he's got to pay $106 or $105, whatever it is, to each shareholder, no matter what. Like, that's kind of where that agreement lies right now. So he's kind of screwed himself. And if he can't get the capital, let's say they vote yes, and it's still public until the day the deal is done, it's still a publicly traded company. It doesn't stop being publicly traded. So stock prices could go up, forcing him to get more money. So that's the thing I really wish more people were paying attention to. Yes, there is reason to be slightly concerned because he's a very strongly opinionated person,
See, I
and
don't think
his
there's any
opinion is,
reason to be concerned at all because all he's looking to do, in my opinion, is to undo what Twitter already did. Like
which was,
if you look at everything that Twitter's doing, let's just use Trump for a key example because he's the one that everybody knows. He had a voice on Twitter while he was president, right? He changed that whole look on how social media and the presidency are aligned because he couldn't stop tweeting. You know what I mean? Like all those are official documents, and now they're going to be archived, like as if it was a paper or a letter or something that somebody wrote. You know what I mean? He had his word on it. So Twitter saw all the negativity he was bringing, barred him, like shadow banned him, and then banned him, and now banned him for life. He's not
mhm,
the only one they've done that to. They've done that to
mhm,
almost anybody who spoke the same way he did about the same kind of stuff. So, like, if you had a strong opinion about something the Democratic Party was doing, like he did, you got banned. And I personally feel like uh, with Musk taking over, he's going to stop all that nonsense. Like, there will be no more banding because you have a political side. Like you may be Republican, you may be Democrat. Who the hell cares? If it's truth, it's truth. If it's a comment about something, let it go. Like if it's not hateful or uh, causing harm to somebody, get over it. It's a platform where people are supposed to have a voice, and it's supposed to be free reign of voice. Like we have the freedom of speech, freedom of press. Twitter has said, no, you don't. Not on our station, not on our channel. Tune in next time. Batman may talk to you. Like it doesn't work that way. Just because you don't agree with something I'm saying doesn't give you the right to ban me from saying it. But
Okay.
that's what they've done.
So I'm going to stop you for a second because I followed that whole situation very closely when it was happening. The reason why Trump was banned was not because he was saying mean, spiteful things. It was because at the time the election was still going on. He was also spreading misinformation about COVID, which was against their policies at the time. And he was spreading misinformation about the election. Everything he was saying was proven to be a lie. There's
Not
archives that are
everything.
okay. What
Not
was
not
something
everything
that
was proven to be a lie. Like there's a lot of stuff that he said that Twitter held against him, and was part of that whole reasoning behind banning. But that's neither here nor there because, like I said, he wasn't the only one. Other people were having a
you're
lot
right,
of
he was.
misinformation too, and most of the other people that had all that other non-correct information got it because of hearsay. Well, guess what? CNN reports news every day, right? They don't always have it right,
No, they
but they
don't.
tell their side. They don't allow you to tell your side. And that's what Twitter's doing. Like he had a side, he was trying to share it, and they said no. And everybody who had the same side had the same outcome. And that's not fair to anyone except the people that it's benefiting.
Well, I know as of now, one of the terms that's being floated regarding uh, the already banned individuals, because this is something that was brought up on a news broadcast just yesterday, actually. Um, there is something the board has already kind of laid out for Elon that anyone who's already been banned, he would have to uphold those bans, and he's still going through with the deal. So there's a good
Well,
chance
yeah,
this
a
sort of
lot of the people who were already banned have already gone to other social media sites, so it doesn't even
this
matter
is very
anymore.
true. And Trump already said he's not coming back to Twitter.
Yeah,
So
and
it
that's
doesn't
that.
really matter.
That's why I
Like,
said I'm just using him as an example because
I know
legitimately, it's not my
there have
opinion or
been
your opinion or anybody. It's this is what happened, and I personally feel he's just trying to fix that. Like
yeah,
now,
and I think
if people get unbanned eventually, that's one thing, but it's got to be a legit thing that has to go through all the channels and stuff. And I understand that, I get that. Um, and whether people come back or not on their own free will or accord and create different accounts and stuff, it is what it is. It doesn't even matter. Like truthfully, if Trump wanted to come back to Twitter, he could have if he just created a bogus account and still said his piece. He could have still trolled anybody he wanted to, just under a different name.
yeah, but that's not how he operates, and I have to respect him for that. I do. I have to give the man respect. He took the ban, he was like, "All right, fine, fuck you."
Yeah, I'll
And he
create my
left.
own.
And yeah, which hasn't done very well, unfortunately.
Yeah. I have a
Um
feeling it's going to pick up, though, if all this nonsense keeps going the way that it's going.
that was something that even Elon Musk tweeted out that within 24 hours of the news of Twitter being sold to him, Truth, Trump's freaking social media app thing,
Yeah.
whatever, it
Yeah.
was trending number one in the Apple stores,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
and that does say a lot. But here's the thing about that platform, and this is why the platform's not going to survive much longer. It's hemorrhaging money, and you've got key infrastructure people leaving at like a pivotal point. This app hasn't even fully gone live yet. It's only on like iPhones right now.
Yeah. I
Like
was going to
that's
say,
the
I've seen
only
people
platform.
using it.
Yeah, you can't even use it on the web. That's the other thing. Like it's only on Apple. Like that's the only platform it's working on right now, and it's not even working 100%. So so it's funny that that was tweeted out, but that's Elon just kind of being, like Oh, you guys are already jumping ship. Don't even know what I'm gonna do. Like, you haven't even seen what I'm actually going to do. You're
Yeah.
assuming what I'm gonna do because he here's the thing, and this is what I don't and this boggles my mind that people have not brought this up. There were things that Elon Musk agreed with Donald Trump on, and then there were things he adamantly disagreed with him on, to
Yeah.
the point where he literally called Trump a dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, the fact that people immediately assume, "Oh, he's gonna do this and he's gonna do that." No, he's not. The man is gonna do whatever he wants. Is the
Yeah.
platform gonna change?
The man has a brain. He knows what's best for his pocket.
Yeah, and he can see the dollar signs potentially in Twitter. I mean, shit, right now, Twitter is where SpaceX launches take place. Like, they stream the whole thing over Twitter.
Yeah.
That's another reason why he wants to get it. He wants to advertise on the platform in a way that makes him more money. It's smart business. But he's been very, very upfront about the things he said he wants to do if the sale goes through. I can see, because there's so many people worried about it and the dollar amount just isn't there for some people. I
Yeah.
can see it potentially getting dropped, and then Twitter owes him a
A
fee
billion
for that.
dollars. It's a
So,
$1 billion fee. And that's what makes it so much funnier.
but it is what it is. I personally look at the whole situation. I'm like, I'm gonna give the man a chance. I still look at his cars and I go, you know, granted, and I have to throw this out there. Elon Musk did not technically invent Tesla. He bought it. He then did his own thing on it. He changed things, he improved things, whatever. But the original concept he bought from someone else who owned the patent.
I say, didn't he work with that person that had the
No, he did
patent?
not. He did not. He bought it from a group of individuals and he then tweaked it, modified it, improved it, made it more sleek looking, so on and so forth. He invested a crap ton of money before the first Tesla ever came off the assembly line.
Oh yeah, I know. People were buying a Tesla. I think the timeline was like 5 to 10 years before it was created, and they had to pay up front, so he had the money to build said car.
Yeah. And now that company is a $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
He is worth a shit ton of money. But this is the thing people don't understand. Elon Musk himself is a billionaire, yes, but a lot of his financial worth is still wrapped up in his companies. So the idea of him having 40 some odd billion, which right now that's the price tag, it can change.
44.
Yeah, 44 billion. That price tag can change because of the terms set. If, like I said, if the stock price goes up, he has to match it. And you have to consider, depending on how much that price goes up,
See, I don't
that's
know if the
gonna
price can go up in the aspect of
that's the terms of the deal.
it.
So it would
Well,
go up.
the thing that I'm reading says the Twitter board approved the $44 billion takeover. Like that to me tells me that they agreed that the $44 billion, whether the stock goes up or not. Like I'm just saying that's what it sounds like.
Well, I
And
from my
if the
understanding,
dollar amount goes up, I can't imagine it would go too much higher than $44 billion. You
well,
know
you
what I
have to
mean? It may
consider,
hit
like,
45, but I can't imagine that it would go much higher than 44.
but again, here's the thing. He himself is only putting in 10 billion of that $44 billion price tag. He had to get loans for the rest. Most of that money is tied up in banks. And while he's got approval, he has approval for this amount. The shareholders, that meeting is going to determine the final price tag that he will have to pay, and that will stop trading at that point. If the shareholders agreed to a set amount per share that he's going to have to pay them, that's what it's going to be, and that's what's going to adjust the price tag. Right now it's 44 billion. Let's say they say, cuz that means every shareholder will get, I think it's like $56 and like 9 cents for every share they own. If they say no, we'll agree to this, but we want double what the stock is worth right now. The stock is worth $50 a share right now. So if they say they want $100 a share, okay, well, Elon now has to pay that. Now the deal jumps to $88 billion because yes, he agreed to pay 44 and the board agreed to that, but the shareholders said, "No, you got to double our money because we're losing it. You're taking the company private. We don't get to keep our shares. So, no. You're going to have to double my money before I agree to it." Is it possible that could happen? Yeah. Is it going to happen? Probably not. They'll probably agree to the deal as outlined by the board, as agreed by the board, but it is possible that that could happen. Either
Okay.
way, there's a lot of there's nothing is 100% set in stone yet because there's another thing that people aren't realizing. The US government, because Twitter is based in this country, because of the size of the deal, the US government has to finalize it and they will do an investigation before it happens and only then will it get finalized and Elon Musk will take control. So we might not even see Elon Musk in control of Twitter for another 2 fucking years. I'm just saying, like, there's people freaking out now, but he can't do anything yet. There's still a long way to go, and we don't know the full outline of what he wants to do. He may change his mind before he takes ownership because so many people are fucking acting stupid. He said he was only going to do this. He was only going to do that. He wanted to change this. He wanted to improve that. He wanted to add an edit button finally. Oh my god, I love an edit button. Um, he's promised a bunch of good things that I side with. My girlfriend, who's a very aggressive Democrat, she thinks the deal is good. She thinks he has good intentions. She's looked at what he's said and what he's done. She thinks it's a good deal. She is a little cautiously optimistic for a good thing, but she also knows, just like the wind, he can sway whichever way he wants at any moment because that's who he is. He's a billionaire. He doesn't have to give a fuck what anyone thinks. But he's being very upfront, and I think it's good. Could it be bad? Yeah, because like I said, his attitude and the way he does things changes with the wind. Um, do I think it'll become a paid subscription service that you have to pay for it? No. I don't think he sees dollars in that. I think he knows he's going to lose more money than he's spending.
Yeah,
And
well,
you have
yeah,
to
because it's supposed to be a free platform right now, anyway. And quick correction: you said he's put 10 billion into it. He
it's like
is
21,
actually,
right?
yeah, he's actually
Yeah.
promised 21 billion in cash. So I don't know who carries that much cash. I mean, there's going to be an armored truck rolling around somewhere.
Well,
Anybody
so
interested? No, I'm
when
just kidding.
when the so in the terms of him putting up cash, that's that what he's referring to is he's gonna bring
Oh, I no,
like
I
a
know,
check
I
or
know.
something.
I
But
was making a
you know,
joke, sir. God,
although
so
hey,
literal.
there dude, you have to remember what country we live in. We have a lot of dumb people in the world, okay? So so but no, he that's how that's gonna go. But yeah, no, it's like I'm kind of cool with it. Like I was like, oh shit, he actually is serious about buying Twitter. Um Do I think the deal is honestly going to go down? If it's going to the shareholders, no. I think the shareholders are going to vote it down, and Twitter's going to have to pay him $1 billion. That's the God's honest truth. I don't see
In which case, he just
because
made $1 billion.
yeah, easily. Um, and the greedy fucking board members are going to be sitting there going, "Oh wow, okay, we
Oops.
fucked up," because this is the thing a lot of people aren't aware of. The board does not control the majority of the stock. Believe it or not, it's the overall shareholders. The board only controls about 30% of the actual shares. So the actual stockholders could end up like that's 70%. We already know the board's going to vote yes. There's another 70% that could, well, not 70, but it's like 55%, 55 to 30. Let's say they unanimously say no. Well, the board just got outvoted by the shareholders. That's
Yeah.
done.
Yep.
So
And it's in the contract as you break it, you buy it, you break the deal, you pay the price.
yeah. So the board would have to come up with that money, and it would be on the board because they're the ones who initiated that. It wouldn't fall on the stockholders, but every shareholder, sorry, they will get a say in this. So if you are curious about this and you really want to stop it, hey, if you got the money to invest, go buy some shares in Twitter because that's the only way you're going to stop it. If anyone doesn't see where this is going already, you're far short minded than I honestly give a lot of people credit for.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could see exactly what I was just like in my head as I was saying. I'm like, oh, I can totally see that happening now.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, there's a very good possibility that the shareholders will knock it down, or will only agree to it. And the meeting for this isn't happening for a while. Like it's not happening till like October or something. It's like not
Really?
anytime soon. So again, people freaking out and losing their goddamn minds. But then there's the flip side of this whole thing. And that's all the people who are like, yeah, y'all can kiss my ass, I'm gonna be able to say this and that on Twitter again. No, no, you won't. You're not listening. You're not paying attention. And there that happened today. Like before I was able to get online, I was on Twitter for a few minutes. I was about to post, that I'm going live, and I looking through the trending stuff, and I'm like, oh, what's this? So I start looking at it. I'm like, oh boy. And sure enough, as I assumed, because it was because of that I looked in to see if Elon had made a statement on it. Yeah, he made a statement. He was very clear about it. Hate speech is not going to be accepted. Um, Unlawful speech, anything that breaks the law in your region. He even clarified in your region. So if you're in China using Twitter, yeah, China has very strict laws about what you can and cannot say about the country and so on and so forth. So yeah, good luck.
Yeah. It has that on there too, in the aspect of he tweeted and pinned it, just saying, addressing his free speech policy. And it says, by free speech, I simply mean, which means the law. And I 100% agree with that too, because I can't tell you how many people I know who've gone through stuff mentally, and um, somebody saying one negative comment to them put them in a depression frenzy to where they wanted to kill themselves. And you see it on TV, you see it at bullying at school and all the kinds of stuff like that. That's what caused different shootings. And, the world doesn't need any more of that. So to have freedom of speech is great, but 100%, if it's hurting someone, that's no longer freedom of speech. It's bullying somebody, and bullying isn't permitted almost anywhere you go. So
Yeah.
again, you would just assume that that would come into light and that would be taken down, and there's nothing that person can really say about it, because you're
Yeah.
saying
And
go hurt yourself. Oh, I took it upon myself to hurt myself because somebody told me to. Well, no, like they're being an a-hole, being a troll. You don't go hurt yourself because one yahoo's like, "Meh."
yeah, and Elon Musk has been very public about his stance about bullying. Because he was bullied as a kid, like very aggressively. Um, for the way he looks, the way he talks, the way he acts. And so he's said um previously he has a zero tolerance against bullying because he just it's unnecessary in today's world. Like there's no need for it anymore. There never should have been a need for it. But apparently there are some people out there that just need to feel bigger than someone else. Well, that's one thing he with his statement about free speech. He's basically also clarifying, yeah, no, you're not going to be able to use Twitter to bully people. You're not going to, yeah, you still have free speech, but you'll have freedom of speech as it is written by the law.
Right.
You'll have freedom of the press, whatever, in the sense. So that's another thing. He's been adamant about this before about these online news reporters who are not 100% reporting facts. They're just throwing crap out there. I could see them leaving Twitter because he won't put up with it.
Right.
If you want to come on Twitter and share your opinion, cool, that's fine. You want to state something as a fact though? Well, there is a law that says you cannot print misinformation.
Yeah, if you
Like
want
you
to say
can't
it's a
tell
fact, to
misinformation.
prove it.
Yeah. And so that's gonna be an issue. And there's a lot of people that aren't understanding. Yes, he stands firmly on the ground of free speech, lawful free speech. not
Right.
hate speech, not this other bull crap. And that's what everyone's freaking out about is they assume that that's what it's gonna be. It's not what's
Yeah.
happening.
Right.
So,
And that's
give
and
the man
that's
a
one of the
chance, see what he
things,
comes
yeah,
up
that's
with.
one of the things that I've been saying for a long time is until you know exactly what they're going to do, don't judge them on it. Like I thought Trump running for president was going to be a good decision, a good thing because looking at it like business aspect of things is, I would
I
love to
won't lie,
see America.
I felt the same way.
I
That's
was
what I
like I would
felt
love
too.
to see America be the top of the food chain again. I would love to see it. And then he proved that he's just a overage child and is using power to hit the best of his ability that he knew how. And that's not how you treat people. That's not how life is a thing. Now, I mean, there's a lot of things he did for the country that was amazing that never got reported to the news because they were too focused on the negative. Like he stopped different drug trafficking and child trafficking and prostitution rings and stuff like that using the military and the SEALs from over in the other countries and stuff. But none of that was reported on except for by very select few channels and few things. And yes, I happened to come across a few of them, but they were never widestream media. And all of the widestream media was based on, well, what did he say on Twitter last week? Well, who the fuck cares? Like what did he do? What was the actual things he did with the military? What was the actual things that were in control? Like, yes, he's got a mouth. We all know that he's a child, but his actions for trying to help our government and trying to help our country have, in my opinion, they outweighed the negativity through his Twitter, but it wasn't reported, so nobody could see it. You know what I mean?
The problem was a lot of what he did. Yes, that he did do some good. I'm not gonna sit here and say he didn't do any good. He did some good, but there was a lot of stuff that was bad. There was
There
a
was.
significant portion of bad, unfortunately. But the fact you're right, the media wasn't reporting everything he was doing, and there's a lot of
Right.
stuff that came to light after he left the office, and it's like, why wasn't this fucking talked about when he was
Yeah.
president? Oh,
Because
because you
he's
were
a
too busy
child. Yeah,
because
because
they
he
were
was
too
a
busy
child
dealing with
opening his mouth.
Twitter and stuff. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it was smoke and mirrors with that. He knew what he was doing, and the media ate into it. And so, look, there's this thing happened that affected people massively, and they were more concerned with what he was saying on Twitter about this over here. And it's like, great, but then he would do a good thing, but then he'd go on Twitter and fucking be a dumbass. So it
Yeah.
didn't get reported because he's being a dumbass. So that's what they're
Yeah.
gonna go with.
Yep.
I was never a big fan of Trump's because of things he did while he was in office that affected veterans. Um, and that's just something I can't forgive, you know. Um, so I had a bad taste in my mouth going into the election. Did I vote for him? I'm not going to say who I voted for, but I will say that I definitely wasn't in his camp. That's just how I felt about it. Like I couldn't support a guy who was acting the way he was acting.
Yeah. No, and I
Um,
understand that too. But here's another thing as well. And I hope everybody really pays attention to this. The president, it doesn't matter who it is, they're a face. The people
yeah.
who really make the executive decisions is the other people in the Senate that sit behind him. It's his board. Like Biden comes up and says, "This is what I want to do." His board members are like, "No." Then the answer is
Well,
no. Like, yeah,
in many cases,
you
that's
have some,
true.
yeah, and so you have some say, but if the people behind you are like, "That's a bad choice," the answer is going to
Well,
be no.
so there's truth to what you're saying, but there is a limited amount of power the president has that he doesn't need the Senate to do
That's my
anything.
point. That's my point. Is it
Congress,
is
sorry.
Congress, yeah. But that's what I'm saying is it is limited. It's not this big
Yeah,
ordeal like everybody thinks it is. The power of the presidency is not all powerful. He's not a dictator. There's a
no.
lot of other people who have to agree with him. And
And
that's the catch
it's
22.
those people that are more terrifying to me than the actual president.
Yeah. And so it honestly, it doesn't matter who you, in my opinion, it doesn't matter who you vote for president because it is so limited. It's the council behind him that you have to really worry about. It's not a dictatorship. It's a democracy, and everybody votes for the specific president, and that's it. They don't really pay attention to all the other people that are going to be working with him or working for him. And that to me is the most annoying aspect of the political parties. If
And
you're
that's
going to
also
focus
another
on
thing.
one party, cool, focus on that party. But pay attention to all candidates for that party.
So
Hear what they
getting
all
off
have
of
to say.
getting off of politics because we're digging a hole we need to get out of. The situation with Elon Musk buying Twitter, it's a big deal. There are people that are on both sides of the fence. I'm gonna sit here and tell everybody this is what I think you should do. We're nowhere near a finalized sale yet. We don't know his definitive plan. I guarantee at some point it's going to be put in writing that he is going to have to publicly outline his plan for the first X amount of years that he's going to own the company, which means he will have to follow through with that per the terms of the agreement. So nothing is official yet. Stop freaking the fuck out. This may be a good thing. It may be a bad thing. We don't know yet.
And if
Stop
it turns out to
freaking
be a
out.
bad thing, you can leave. You don't
Yes.
have to use the platform.
No,
All
you
those
don't.
people who put in the ad time and commercial time, hey, we'll pay you, put our stuff on the air, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't
I was about
have
to
to
make
do
a really
that.
bad joke.
There's all kinds of other social media platforms that are available.
I was about to make a joke about the Microsoft owned streaming platform because this did actually happen. There were a it was a mass exodus of streamers from that platform, which led in part. It was not the sole reason the platform failed, or why Microsoft sold it off, but it was a big factor because they made a lot of deals that ended up costing them too much, and then they just couldn't afford to advertise this service, nor did it have all the support that some places like Twitch have, you know. So it just it fucked that up. But it wasn't just the streamers that left, it was the actual users. And if you've got no one watching your content, I mean, you're going to go where people are going to watch you. In this case, the same thing happens here with Twitter. There is going to be some sort of Twitter ripoff that comes out in the next year. I guarantee it. That'll be a haven for all the people that just want to whine about everything. And I'm not being political there. There are people on Twitter right now who whine about absolutely everything that just doesn't fit with their world. And it's on both sides of the aisle. There's gonna be a new platform that's not gonna be Twitter that you can go to and bitch and whine and cry and be political and be
It's called
hateful and be
Facebook.
angry. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, anyways, yeah. Um, but no, so stop freaking out. Nothing's 100% done yet. You guys are jumping to conclusions. I'm not siding with this is a good thing. I'm not siding with a bad thing. I want to wait for more information. I want to see where things are going to go. And I recommend and I suggest that everyone else do the fucking same.
Yeah.
Just chill. Okay. We need to talk about something, anything other than this now.
I
But
know
well,
you
we have,
said you had
I
a
mean,
list, but no, I mean, and that's why we got on the whole politics side of it anyway, was because of the expectations of society and what Elon Musk is going to do with Twitter. Like this wasn't supposed to be a political thing; it was
no,
a
it was not.
Twitter thing.
So
But I
for
mean,
anyone that got upset,
truth be told, if you dive into politics, you do you. Like I'm not a politician. I'm
neither am
not,
I.
and you know it is what it is. This is just our opinions on what may come to light.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's relax. That's I think what Extreme and myself are both saying is relax. Not one person is not going to be able to control an entire situation, and if it turns out that it can, leave the platform.
Yeah.
You know,
If you're not
it's
comfortable with
not
it,
that
leave.
big a
You
deal.
know? Yeah. It's very simple. It's very easy to understand. If you want to continue to use Twitter after Elon Musk buys it, keep doing it. You don't know what it's going to happen. You don't know what he's going to change. You don't know what he's going to remove, so on and so forth. Don't know anything yet because nothing other than what he said about free speech, and he's already clarified what he meant.
Yeah.
So I mean, give the man a chance to take this. We don't even know if the deal's going to go through. So you
Right.
guys are all
Exactly.
freaking out, and it's like, calm down, breathe, wait,
I got to
just
say one more thing on politic though before we cut off of it, and it was the same nonsense, you know, happened when Trump was running for president. Well, if he wins, I'm leaving the country. Well, if he wins, I'm moving to Canada. Well, if he wins, I'm
Yeah.
moving to Australia. If he wins, did any of them leave?
I
Maybe
heard the same
two.
thing about when
Maybe two
Biden
people
was.
left out of all the people that I heard
Oh
say
yeah,
it.
I guarantee you. And the same thing happened with Biden winning. Like, look, has Biden done a great job as president? I don't know. I don't know what people judge as a good job. Do I think the world is in a shit place? Yeah, but the world was already headed there because of COVID. That
Yeah.
wasn't because of one man's doing.
No, the
Did
only
you?
thing that's bothering me when it comes to politics right now is the laws and stuff that are getting ready to come out in California because that's where I'm at. You know, all
Yeah,
vehicles are
whatever happened
supposed to
with
go
that?
to half hybrid. You're not going to be able to buy
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
vehicles within the state unless it's half hybrid. No more fully combustion motors. So the Mack trucks that are out of state that are delivering things here are going to have to meet at the border, empty their truck, exchange it for a partially electric truck for deliveries, which means all this other stuff is going to happen, and gas prices are going to go even higher because there's going to be less fuel being sold, so gas companies will make less money, and
Well,
they're
that's the
also
thing.
trying to work in the mix the motorcycles. I ride a bike. I love riding a
Yeah.
motorcycle. I've ridden a motorcycle since I was 18 years old or 19 years old, 20 years old, whatever, and that's when I got my first. But I grew up on the back of my dad's bike, you know, and there's some law that's being written and put into another law that motorcycles will no longer be allowed to be fully combustion motors and they have to go electric. Now, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm never going to buy an electric motorcycle. And I say I'm sorry to say it because I will be that outcast, that outlaw that's breaking the law by driving around a old motorcycle that I had to fix up myself just so I could ride a bike. You know what I mean? Like the electric motors are silent. Harley makes one. I've heard it or didn't in that aspect. I believe loud pipes save lives. I can't tell you how many times I was almost hit by a car and then I pop I rev my motor, pop my engine, and that car's like, "Oh god, there's a loud ass motorcycle right next to me." Well, how'd you not hear me in the first place? Like I'm not revving my motor, but I can hear my bike past this 80-mile-an-hour winds that I got going in my ears. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna jump in for just a
If
second
you're gonna
because
hold on, wait. If you're gonna silence cars, like cars, you don't get any road noise. That's the big selling point. If you're not gonna have any road noise, don't eliminate other sounds around you. Like you can't honk. It's supposed to be illegal to honk unless it's in case of emergency. You know what I mean? Like that's an actual thing. If you honk and it is not an emergency, you can get a ticket.
when was that made a law?
When I was a child, like that's always been around. As far as I can remember, that's been a thing. When I went and got my driver's license for the very first time, that was always a thing. Do not honk unless it's an emergency.
Yeah,
Like people
I
sitting
lived
at
in
a red light, you
California
give
just
them
as
a
long as
toot.
you.
Right. No, that's my point is people don't realize that. But I've been sitting there at a light, somebody give a little toot, no big deal. But if you like honk and there's a cop sitting there, they'll pull you over. They'll write you a ticket for a noise violation, disturbing the
That's
peace,
insane.
different kinds
I
of things
never
like
knew
that.
that.
Yeah. And with them doing stuff like that with motorcycles, it's like, well, the horn on a motorcycle is garbage. Like I could put a
Yeah,
train horn on my bike. In fact, I know people who have. They honk their bike and it's all whoa, like a Mack truck. I'm
yeah.
not going to do that. That's stupid. I'd rather rev my motor. And if I have an electric bike, all you're going to hear is it's going to sound like a kazoo sitting next to you. Like, no, that's not how it works.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I love you. I just picture you.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
No, to get serious, we talked about that before a couple, like several weeks episodes back, actually. Um, yeah, I was kind of I looked into that a little bit, and I saw what they're trying to do, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're putting a favorable law in with this motorcycle law, and it's one of those things that you're gonna have to choose. Do you want this or not? and you're gonna
Yeah,
have to take this with
or
it.
people, yeah, I
And
say, or people
so
are gonna read it and understand it and be like, "Oh, I don't want to screw all these people," and they'll vote no, so you won't get the thing that
there
everybody may
there is a
want. They'll have
very
to
large
rewrite
backing.
it.
Yeah, there's a very large backing behind, um
That's what they did with the schools. You pay for this for schools, and added into the school one was road tax. They did not fix the roads, but they definitely got our money. You know what I mean? The roads are very, 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 very slowly being repaired.
yeah. Well, that's also a factor of just manpower. And I'm not defending the government in California there at all. I'm just saying, like, as someone who's seen that happening here in Montana right now, um, it's a matter of manpower. Like, you just if you don't have the manpower to do the job fast enough, it's not gonna happen. Which brings up something I did see, that I didn't write on my list, and this is what we're gonna close the podcast out with, um, Jimmy. So, I'm fucking spacing big time today. I don't know what's going on. There is talk about this automated construction system for road work, and the fact you brought it up, I thought was fucking amazing. By the way, I saw this device, and it basically what it does is it's a three-stage like train. The first stage tears up the ground that needs to tear up, just demolishes whatever, breaks everything down, shovels it out of the way. Second
Like a
stage comes
plow.
behind that. It's kinda like a plow, but it's also like a plow and a meat grinder and a, like, concrete crusher all, like,
Okay.
rolled into one. Like, it's a massive thing, and
Okay.
it's intended to increase, you know, highway space and road space and stuff like that. I saw this and I was like, "This looks pretty awesome, but why is this a thing? Why am I seeing this?" And I saw that it was something that was being discussed about use here in Montana because we just don't have the manpower and only 10 people need to run this system. And they're not even on the actual system itself. They're not actually doing anything. They just hit a couple buttons and then they monitor it. And if something goes sideways, they hit a button that stops everything. They fix it real quick and then they go right back to work. But it can be done in a absolute fraction of the time. But this equipment is extremely experimental and extremely expensive. And so the question being raised is, could the state of Montana specifically use this machine to do the road work that's being demanded of and needed? Thought, it'd be cool if that happened, but it causes absolute closures. And so you wouldn't be having this work done during the daytime because that's just going to kill travel. But at night, when they're supposed to do it, it'd be pretty cool to see that actually happen. But how, like, is it worth it? Because it's going to cost taxpayers more money to pay for this system that may not do the job that 40 people could do in the same
Right.
amount of time, and it's taking away jobs. I'm all for automation. Um, Freaking going down the rabbit hole that is YouTube. I didn't even realize how many insanely bizarre vending machines there are in the world. Um, and
I like
just
how you
how
said that was
far,
a rabbit hole because that's facts.
yeah. But no, it's like what I mean by going down the rabbit hole is like I just started typing in stuff to see what comes up, and I was like, holy shit, there is legitimately a whole section of YouTube where people make videos showing you them going to their vending machines that they own, clearing them out, stocking them up again. And I'm like, this is a thing? First of all, you can make money from fucking the vending machines plus money from doing YouTube. Man, this person's doing business right. Um, but no, I don't know. I think that's actually where I saw this video. It was like attached to a news article.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I believe it. That's kind of how Redbox started. It was a vending machine for movies, and
but
they went out
I'm
very
referring to
slow.
but my whole thing was it's like I just there are a lot of people bitching about there's not enough people working. That's why if you go to a fast food joint now, the time it takes for you to get food at certain places has gone up. Where it used to be like, You go and get a burger in you sit in line for a maximum of 5, maybe 10 minutes. Now you're sitting in line for 15, 20 minutes depending on where you live and what the workforce is like there. I experienced that the other day going to the Hardee's here in Billings. We ordered a burger, fries, and a drink. That was it. One burger, one fry, one drink. It was for my brother. He had a gift card from Christmas that he wanted to use. We sat there for just the fucking burger and fries 22 minutes. From the moment we drove it to the window to the moment we left, 22 minutes. I've never sat at a Hardee's or Carl's Jr. drive through and waited that fucking long for a burger. I don't know what
Yeah.
the wait times are like in Cali, but that was nuts. And that was peak day. Like it should not have been that slow.
The only time it's ever been that long is if it's like fresh, like fresh, fresh.
Yeah.
It's the only time it's ever taken any significant amount of time. Now, I've been told, I don't know if this is a thing or not, but I've been told, like McDonald's, they are cutting their workforce down and they're bringing in machines to do a lot of the cooking and prepping and all that stuff that people used to do. And I mean, you still have to have manpower to put it all together, wrap it up, and give you your food. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's so much, I guess, less. I don't know. I've never worked in McDonald's. I've never seen the back house of a McDonald's, but I did work at Taco Bell when I was younger. And I could tell you the line and the way that the food was prepared and all that stuff. It only took two to run a store. Um, but at the same time, it was like a line. You know what I mean? Like there was heat lamps and all this other weird stuff. And it was that. It is what it is. Um, but when it comes to making a burger, I don't know how you can have a robot flip a burger. Like that to me is a little weird. I
Um,
feel like the money that would go into that kind of aspect would just it wouldn't compare to the amount that you're paying somebody to do the job.
and so
And
the main
if there's a vehicle that's able to go out as like a train and do like a what is it, like a backhoe kind of thing, like a tooth would come down and rip the concrete up the asphalt, and then there'd be something that gathers like almost like a vacuum or a what the hell did I say?
like it
Like a
just like
plow,
picks it up
like it
like a plow.
plows
Yeah.
everything up and then vacuums it all up inside itself so there's no debris on the roadway and all that kind of stuff. And then the next car would be the one that drops the tar and the asphalt, and the final one does the like a steamroll. That's amazing.
It's like I
Like
mean, so the
that
way it
itself
works.
would be pretty fantastic.
So the train I saw, the first one is basically tearing up the road and smoothing it out. The second one comes in, it's laying asphalt and it smooths it out. The third one comes in and the third one paints the lines and seals it. And when I say seals it, I'm not talking they put a clear coat over it or any of that crap. No, they seal it in a way that allows the road to stay solid and smooth and everything, but not harmful for driving on with in wet surfaces, stuff like that. Like it makes
Yeah,
it
like a steamroller.
like yeah, but it makes it basically, it just makes the roads look nice. And I saw this and I was like, that's pretty cool. And it's being used in another country right now.
Yeah,
But
I've seen a car or a truck or whatever it was that was going on the road that painted the lines on the highway. I mean, that seems like it'd be a pretty easy addition to whatever mechanical development that you would have.
but
Uh,
so my main point of all this was we see a lot of automation coming out, and yet people are still complaining about there's no workforce, there's this, there's that. It's because, and this was something me and a buddy I talked about this earlier. The problem isn't that there isn't people to do the jobs. It's that the people that were doing those jobs have found better paying jobs and aren't going to sit there and work at a mundane rate for something that honestly, I've worked at fast food. I've worked in retail. I'm sorry to say this, but while the job may not seem physically demanding for the outside world, to the people who don't work that job, those jobs are demanding. But the real taxing element of working in retail is dealing with all the fucking assholes and douchebags of the world who are impatient and just
rude.
to me now. Yeah, you deal with that on a day-to-day basis, man, I'm sorry. Minimum wage is not worth that.
Yeah.
I did it
Well,
because it was the only option I had,
I say
but
here's the kicker there though, and it comes with fast food too, is most jobs like that are not designed to make a career out of. Those jobs
no,
are
they're not.
designed to put money in your pocket and then you move on to the next bigger and better thing. Making a career out of doing road work, I mean that can be a career. That's not
Yeah,
just some, you know, okay, next job please type of job where fast food is. Fast food was really, in my opinion, is really there for kids in school, like 16, 17, 18, that want to get out and become an adult and see what it's like to make your own money. That's what those jobs are there for. Being a shelf stalker at Walmart, doing stuff like that. Like I could see that being a younger person's job or a older person's job who's retired and just wants to get out of their house. Like I could see
yeah.
that being those types of jobs. But for somebody who wants to make a career, you don't go for the easiest job and the most tedious job. You go for something you can really put your mark on. And
But
that's what always made me laugh is yes, I've worked in retail. Yes, I've done customer service. Yes, I've done fast food. And every single gig I've ever done has never been a job where it's like I want to make a career out of this until I worked at the casino. And even to this day, being in a casino, my job is not a career spot job. However, working in a casino is like working in a small town. You can go anywhere, you can do anything, you can go take classes like college type classes, which are just training classes for the next level up. And that's the important thing is you want to have one of those jobs, go to school, get your degree, and then follow your happiness. And until you can get that, you get one of those meaningless jobs that pay minimum wage, that pay your bills, and then you move on to when you're able to what you're actually trying to advance in. Like those are stepping stone jobs. They're not career jobs. So people who work at McDonald's saying, "I want more money than minimum wage." Go get a better job.
well, the
Like
thing
minimum
is,
wage is 16.50 an
so
hour. You know what it costs to buy a house out here? A
yes,
small house that used to be 250 grand is now $800,000.
but
That's
now
retarded.
let me paint this in a little broader stroke. The whole point I brought bringing this up was to bring up the question of is automation better for our country? Because we've seen it work well in other countries, but eh, sort of. My the That was the point of me bringing up the whole road work thing and everything, and the vending machines. But you hit something that I want to touch on real quick, and then we really got to wrap up. The minimum wage in California is what it is. Yes. And while there are people in California that are bitching about it, the main people that are bitching about it are the people who are making a minimum wage that is less than, like, even with minimum wage, they're working 40 hours a week, right? They're only getting $6 an hour because they're in certain states, that's the minimum wage still. And so they're not making enough in those places to make a living wage, to
Oh
make
yeah.
enough to pay their bills and stuff like that.
So
Those are the places
that's
where I think the minimum wage needs to be raised. But as far as a nation, do we need to raise the minimum wage? Maybe, maybe not. It just depends. But when you look at the price of gas and food and everything going up, and the cost of living it's like we just had, like, excuse me, the cost of living in Montana with gas and the way it's affecting food. The way gas has gone up, food costs have gone up because getting food to your place, getting goods to your business, whatever, it's going up. And I know this is happening, that there is a bill in Congress right now that's going through to force gas companies to lower their price, to cap their price at a certain amount universally across the nation. Um, if that passes, you will see the average gas price, depending on where you live. Like in California, like right now, a gallon of gas is like 4.25 here for a single gallon of gas.
in
I can only
California, a
imagine
single
it's like
gallon of
8 to 10.
gas is 578 to 625.
Yeah. So this bill would drop that by about $2 to $3 in your area. Here it would drop about the same. So it would
Well,
still
let's
be
hope that that
cheaper.
works because $140
Yeah,
to fill up my truck is awful.
yeah. It's something that was talked about earlier, late last week, and then brought back up earlier this week that Congress is looking at that because the idea of a gas stimulus got shot down by the mass majority of Republicans in Congress. And I say that specifically because I want people to understand it's the officials in office that made this choice. They happen to be on the Republican Party. They also basically shut it down to the point where it's done. You're not going to get any free money a month for the next 3 months to pay for your gas because of the situation going on in Russia, which is why prices have skyrocketed. Or not in Russia, but in the Ukraine. Um the whole situation about cost of living, it's a heated topic, but the issue
Here's,
is go ahead.
I'll let you finish. The issue
The issue
is,
is far more serious than people understand because it's not the minimum wage that needs to be raised, it's the cost of goods need to come down.
there you
And
go.
that is where our government needs to step in and start doing what's best for the public and start telling all these billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies, "Yeah, no, this has gotta come down."
Yeah, and there you go. That right there is what I was going to say. It has nothing to do with minimum wage. So right now in California, minimum wage is 16.50 an hour. Right, that's what I get paid. I get paid 16.50 an hour, and I don't really tell anybody that, but it is what it is. It's minimum wage. Now, all of those people out there who are like, minimum wage needs to go up, minimum wage needs to go up. Listen to me very, very carefully because this is very important. Minimum wage goes up, everything else goes up, which means you're in the exact same boat. Yes, you're making more money, but now you're also paying more money every single time. Cost of living goes up, what, 8% or 4%, 6%, something? I don't know. Cost of living throughout America goes up every year. It does. And you're supposed to get a cost of living increase at your occupation every year. You're supposed to.
That
Now,
doesn't
if you
always happen.
do, great. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. So my wife's missing out on her cost of living stuff, and so did I. Now, the catch 22 is if you increase cost of living, or sorry, if you increase minimum wage to say $21 an hour, now your gas prices are going to go up because those people have to pay their employees. They have to now pay more money to get the fuel to another spot, and that's how they make up the difference. Is if minimum wage goes up, that means they have to pay their staff more money. And if they have to pay their staff more money, they have to make more money. And nobody understands that. And that's the part that really annoys the shit out of me. Is because you're demanding more money so you can afford this stuff. Well, now they have to charge more because they have to pay more. If
Yeah,
people
and
would get that
the
aspect of
prices
life, things might change just a little bit. That's why I say these
and
minimum wage paying jobs are not meant to make a career out of. They're not meant for that. You work for the money you want to make, not the money you currently make. So if you want to have more money, you have to find a better job. And if you're going to be one of those people who say, give me more minimum wage, I need to make more money, this and that, expect to not be able to buy your house anytime soon or not be able to put food on your table at like certain kinds of food, whatever. Expect it because every company that has to pay their people more money now have to produce more money. And that's the problem with life.
so anyways, that is gonna do it for this week's episode, you guys. We already have gone almost half an hour over. Thank you guys for tuning in. Uh we did get a little more political in this episode than I anticipated or wanted to. It was unintentional. It's where the conversation went, and it's just me and James here going over stuff, and sometimes we get lost in our thoughts and we forget, like, hey, we need to rein this back just a little bit. But we hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know I enjoyed it. I think that we had a really good discussion about a lot of things today. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think the show itself was pretty good today. I know that there's still a lot more discussion that can be had on all of these topics, but there always is. It
And
never
true, and
ends with
that might that might not be a
direct.
conversation to have on this podcast.
Yeah,
Um
no, that's what I'm saying. Is things
because
things
we've
come
already
out.
we've
Yeah,
hit
no,
our
things
quota
come
for the
out
night.
and you get to a certain level. It's everybody has an opinion, and I mean, it's important to get your voice heard, and I get that. And I just hope that other people who view and they watch us, they understand another perspective. And
You know,
you and I both
the other thing,
have stated that it's not that we're on the same side or on different sides. It's that it's nice to have another perspective. So you could say
yeah,
something that I completely agree with. However, I'm going to tell you the other side specifically because other people are saying, well, what about the other side? You
yeah.
know what I mean?
I'm like I said before, I want that. I want an open discussion with people. I want an open forum. And that's what this show is supposed to be for the most part. You're gonna hear different opinions about everything sometimes. Sometimes we're gonna absolutely disagree on things legitimately. Like he'll have an opinion that just doesn't go with mine. And the thing I've always said to my audience, and I want your audience to hear this too, is it's okay for me and you to have a different opinion so long as we agree on this one fact. It's fine that we have a different opinion, but at the end of the day, we can walk away from it and understand you're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change yours. That's cool. You're still a good person. I'm going to treat you like a good person. I'm a good person. As long as you treat me the same way, we're cool.
Yep.
We don't have to agree 100% of the time.
Right.
Just, I wish more people remembered that. And unfortunately, they don't.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for joining us for this week's episode. Like I said, we had a little bit of structure.
I think
Um,
this was
I
very
don't
well
think
structured, sir.
I don't think this episode will ever be fully like I don't think any of our episodes are ever going to be perfectly structured. I'm about ready to give up on it.
Ah,
But just a little bit. But thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week. I'm not entirely sure what time yet. Follow us on Twitter if you guys want to. I'm at Extreme FTW Gaming on Twitter. Jimmy's is Jimmy G, I think. Jimmy G Smack on Twitter.
Jimmy
I
G underscore SHMAK.
Yep. And so follow us on Twitter. I will absolutely be posting by at least Tuesday night, hopefully, when the episode will go live on Wednesday. If we do it next week, I say if we do it next week because I might be working.
Hey, get that job,
Well,
make that money.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Honestly, I doubt I'll be working by next week. But that is something I would like to talk about next week because holy crap, I have found a slew of jobs that I'm perfect for. We'll talk about that next week, you guys. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time. Until then, adios.
Have fun.
So, for those that are watching this on Twitch, who are watching us live, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we do appreciate you guys' viewership. Please